in here. This is it. Look at us. We're doing it. We're doing it big now. I just got to go to my. It'll be on my Facebook fan page, not my regular Facebook page. If you were looking for it, Jerome. I know you ain't looking for it. You don't give a shit.
No, I'm not. Facebook, dude. I go to Facebook like once every 3 weeks, once every month and a half or so, and I go and I just click confirm, confirm, confirm for all the friend requests, and then I move on.
You
And
don't ever use it?
no, and rare occasions, something will pop up where it's some nephew or cousins. I got 8 brothers and sisters, so
I
some.
met one of them today, by the way.
As I'm saying,
Huh?
they're all over the place. I didn't even ask you which one because ain't no telling. But they're all over the place. So every now and then they'll be, oh, I'm over there just doing the confirm thing. You're like, hey, today's your nephew's birthday. Happy birthday, nephew.
You
And
have
that's
eight. You have 8 brothers and sisters. So how many nieces and nephews do you have?
more than that.
Well,
It's a bunch of them, and then I got a
you
bunch
don't
of
even
cousins.
know how many. You
No,
really don't know.
it,
Like
it don't matter, does it? I mean,
you're the worst uncle.
I've been that good uncle for a long time. I've
You
been
don't.
that I've been that uncle who like, oh, he ain't married, he ain't got no kids,
Spends all
Hey,
the money on us. So you're
right,
like when you
hey,
when you buy Christmas gifts, you don't even know how many you bought for how many kids.
well, I would send out a message to him, and one of my sisters usually, my mom used to. Then when I had a sister who manages those kind of things, give me the list, and she give me all their names and ages, and I just show up. And then on occasion, I would just show up like, and of course I had the 18 and under rule. I'm not yeah, no, it's like the NBA.
Yeah. Oh,
If
you
you
don't.
if you if you over 18, you can't play
Ain't
in
getting
this league.
shit.
In my league was 18 and under, so that's when you get cut off, right? But
That's hilarious.
I got the ages and everything, and then there were times where it'd be like, if you don't show up at my mama's house on Christmas Day, you ain't getting paid. Because I
Is
just
that-
show up with like envelopes. There's some 20s in this one, there's hundreds in this one, there's 50s in that one. And if you was in the teens, you get 100. If you in the
yeah.
tweens, you get a 50. You the little ones, you get a 20. And then toddlers get fives. but
Damn.
but if you
That is
show
you.
up,
That was a pretty cool uncle. But if you got 8 brothers and sisters and they all have kids, I'd imagine that set you back a grand. That's a whole stack, right?
and it's like, but I wasn't hear from him again. Now I say 18 and under, but once you get to college, you holler at Unc, say, hey Unc,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I like, what you need? I got
Come
you.
bail me out.
Or,
Have
hey
you ever
Unc,
bailed a niece or a nephew out of jail?
uh, I ain't bailed nobody out. Once your ass is in, clearly you done broke the law. No.
You have enough pull though. Who was I talking to?
No.
I was talking to Remy, actually, executive producer of the Houston Sports Show, which I didn't even introduce you. This is how informal this is. If you guys are watching,
Solomon. Yeah.
Jerome Solomon, Houston Chronicle, Houston Sports Show, ESPN Radio, world renowned. But it's funny because I was talking to Remy about this when we were shooting at the rodeo, and he was like, "Yeah, Jerome just walks in like everyone knows Jerome. He doesn't need a press pass." Like we
It,
couldn't all get in because nobody knows who the fuck we are. And
it is
Jerome, you
weird.
walk up, and everybody, oh, come on, get in the golf cart. I'm gonna ride you around the rodeo.
See where you want to go. No, it is weird. Like, and you've been around me enough to know I don't play on
No,
give me something free because I am who I am or whatever. Because a lot of it, I don't live that way or believe in that anyway. But it has been weird to find out that so many more people know me than I thought. So many more people come up to me, or people just you're at a bar and they just buy you a drink. You're like, wait a minute, I don't operate that. And certainly, I mean, I drive like the rodeo. I drive up, not get anybody fired. I drive up to the parking lot. Ain't got no parking pass. Ain't got a badge, a credential, nothing. And I pull up, and I was fixing to give my spiel to try to talk my way in, and the brother said, "Oh, that's Jerome Solomon. Going on, dog."
see,
It was like
I want to be
you was
like you.
I was finna lie.
What were you gonna say? I'm Bomani Jones.
No,
which
I was,
which is
it
a
was gonna
friend of
be
yours,
better than
right?
that lie. It was gonna be a good lie, but it was, It was like, no, I'm coming to meet, and I was gonna name a high-ranking person. They told me to come here, right to this gate, and going on in. You don't want me to call them, do you? Because when you threaten to
I'll
call
call.
somebody, like when I'm dealing with the Texans, I was like, you want me to call Cal McNair? I mean, and they go, oh no, don't bother Miss McNair. Go, come on in, come go ahead. What you got to do? Do what you got to do.
See, you're
Yeah.
smart like
Do
that.
you want me to call Tillman Fertitta? And Rocket, they go on
Oh
in, sir.
yeah. See, there's no way that I would get away with that because they'd be like, man, you don't know Tillman Fertitta. You don't even know you don't you don't even know a hostess at his restaurant. Get out of
That
here.
is the one time in a certain situation that being black is an advantage. Because they're like, no black man will come up here with that kind of lie because he going to jail. this man here, he don't want to go to jail tonight. So clearly he know Tillman Fertitta. I'm gonna let his
Obviously he knows because if it was a white guy, he would just ask for the manager.
yeah.
Look, Aaron Sneedson, I thought you were famous. By the way, we have a chat window so people can chat with us from YouTube, from Facebook, and even from Twitch where all this is streaming. And Aaron said, I thought you were famous. Bro, I'm not Jerome Solomon famous. Jerome Solomon, the only other person I've seen just people like really I haven't seen it here in Houston. The only other time I've seen people get treated so well in public is when I would hang out with Billy D. Washington. And that's just because people just love that dude. It just strangers gravitate to his aura or his soul. Or I don't know what it is.
He has a likable feel about, and he has a calm, like,
He's got a star quality about him.
well, there's that, but this goes into a different direction. But I also think that with just people in general, but certainly with certain people that look like me and Billy D, there's a large group of people. If they see you and they feel comfortable around you, there's more warmth than normal. And if they feel any way little like I don't know what this brother gonna do, you have problems. You know what I mean? And it ain't got nothing to do with you necessarily. It's about how they feel about you. Billy D puts off that I'm calm. You would think he never got upset and gone off on anybody, but we know he has to have.
Oh, yeah.
But he comes across and he talk like, I got this smooth thing, and I'm not even, Bill Withers died here, and
broke my heart.
Billy D talks like Bill Withers sang. Sunshine when she's gone. You understand what I'm saying? Like real relaxed, real down.
That is the best analogy of how Billy D talks, how he is, how smooth, how calm, how he's always in the pocket of life. Like there's just like you can't rattle that dude. He's seen it all. Like, and what's crazy is two stories about Billy D. One is this is how I knew that how smooth he was. Like in public, this is when he first took me on the road. The first time anybody took me to feature for him was Billy D. And he got me into hyenas because that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, he'll help anybody, and he doesn't have to. He takes me to hyenas. We're out shopping one day. We go to, I don't know, Old Navy or some shit, right? And they're having a sale. When you walk in, they're like, oh, it's a raffle. You can get 5 to 50% off. I was like, okay, I needed like some jeans, and he wanted a new shirt. So I got the jeans. I get up to the counter, and the lady's like, oh, just reach in and grab your ticket. And I grab it. She's like, oh, you got 5% off. I was like, okay, whatever. But Billy D gets up there, and he puts his hand in there. And she's talking to him, of course, and she's all, because he's got good hair.
Oh, I want to have your babies.
Right? And she's an old lady, an old white lady. And then he reaches in, he goes, oh, cool, I got 10%. She goes, I'll give you 50. I was like, motherfucker, what? I'm standing right here, white lady. Right? No. She was just like, next.
Along those lines, though, one thing that, and I've been on the other side, and it shocked me that I'm in that position, but specifically on Billy D, when I got to be around him and talk to him for the first time, and I had him on my radio show, and that was the first time I'd ever met him. And within 5 minutes, I was taking shots at him and having fun, and he was going back, and we had a good time. And I was like, this guy validated me. And like, I felt like, well, I must be all right that somebody like this can validate me. And like I say, I've been on the other side where people say that about me, and I'm like, no, it's not about me. I'm not all powerful, but it's about you. If you're cool and likable and you have good qualities about you, of course I'm gonna say that person is cool and that person is okay. But it's great to be that person and go, man, this person here, thinks highly of me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm not beyond that at all, not even close. I mean, I feel pride that I get to do that for some youngsters along the way who are like, man, Jerome Solomon's talking to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just me, you know?
Dude, I told you this. It took me a while, but I told you, man, that just you giving me the opportunity to do the Houston Sports Show is huge. You know how difficult it is to get on TV in any market, much less a market of this size. And for you to do that only proves what you were just saying, where you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna help this dude. Because I mean,
But,
we know each other, and we
but
did
that's what makes
radio
it
a
weird,
handful of
though.
times, but we don't hang out every day.
That's one of the things that makes it weird, though. Like, you see it that way, and I see it as, I was like, dude, this dude could help me. This will be something great.
That's
This will
flattering.
be great for the show. This is my idea. I hope he's down for it.
Oh
You
man.
know what I mean? Like, you may, one day you may really grasp that, but it wasn't about me like, well, let me reach out and bring up some poor little folk, try to help them
Charity.
out, put them on the map. Because I didn't see, because dude, I ain't like Steven Spielberg or somebody. I'm not,
No, but how many people in this city in media? Hell, we could go to the state or the country for that matter. But how many people doing what we do have the diversity of what you have and the ability to make it happen? There's not a lot, Jerome.
No, there's certainly not, and so I do take pride in that. But I'm thinking more along the lines of, man, I've always been who I am.
Mm.
In my mind, I've always been a bad motherfucker. So, and I've always been that way. When I got into journalism, I came in a little later because I went to school for engineering, hated that, quit, became a flight attendant, and then got into writing later. But I was kicking some serious butt here in Houston. I was covering the Big 12, which was huge college sports. I'm covering Texas and A&M and the whole conference, and all over the country, and especially over the Big 12 country. Everybody knew who I was. Jerome Solomon's a bad dude, and these coaches and everybody knew me, and I was killing it. I had a notebook that I wrote in the Chronicle every Thursday that everybody around the Big 12 would read because they're like, let's see who Jerome Solomon going at on this week. It
I
was
still
that
do
kind of
that.
thing. But here in Houston, I couldn't get on the radio as a guest, as anything. Mark Vandermeer comes to town to become the Texans guy, and he started a radio show. He was one of the first guys to call and have me come on the radio. And it was amazing
Really?
to me. And I was like, and it was just, I was like, I'm here. I'm one of the more popular guys at the paper. People know who I am. Not a whiff from people on radio in this town. And it
Why?
just,
Why though? Why do you think it was? And I'm not. I mean, like Eric Resendez is listening. He's like, "Is this going to be like radio?" I said, "What do you mean, Eric?" He goes, because we mess with each other about
yeah.
race. So I'm not setting you up for that. I'm just asking why, because different people don't get or don't get things for different reasons, as you know, in this business. Why do you think it was? You were proving yourself. Why do you think it?
It was a double whammy, I think. And this one I am gonna be blowing myself a little bit on it in
Okay.
that I and I found out later as I've got into the business that I was right about it. People in radio, they're so insecure.
No,
They're
man.
so they're like, if I let
No,
this
we're
person
not.
on
Are
and
you talking about me?
people like that person, then I might be out of a job. So they're very protective of their territory in that sense. So they'll have people on who they don't think is a threat. And I've always thought I was good enough. I brought some flavor and something different, no doubt, than what other people do. So that was part of it. And then without question, I mean, there's not a lot of black people on radio in Houston, and never has
Mm-mm.
been. Amazingly, in a city that's as black as it is, a city that's as Latino as it is, to
Dude.
not have no Latino voices, and it's incredible to me. I mean, we got a Houston sports show on the radio on Sunday mornings, and tomorrow we're going for 2 hours now from 8 to 10, and I have two women on the show, two beautiful, smart, funny as hell, crazy women, Lauren Leal and Rachel
Whatever.
Benarotti.
I don't know
And
how to
yeah,
say it.
Rachel Benarotti. But and there aren't many women on in this
Dude,
town, which is
preach.
incredible to me. So
You when you talk about how diverse this city is, and this is true because we were talking about this. I forget who I was talking about it with. This as diverse as this city is, it is not reflected in the people in sports talk radio. Now, I think that's also across the board. I think that people are starting to make a conscious effort in sports media
Right.
to diversify. But let's be real. You could probably go to a lot of cities and there might be a black guy. There might be a Hispanic guy, a female. You're not going to find a black female. I mean,
It's pretty amazing because it's not like that in TV, which in television, even though they have their own battles and their own issues, but in television, every city you go to, you turn on TV, there's a black woman here, a black man here, and anchors, and people are mixed around. But some reason, sports radio, with all of these black athletes and coaches and people around, and it's like, what, we don't have nerds who just want to talk about sports who ain't played, because most of these guys, the majority of the black guys on radio had to have been professional athletes. And it was like, well, this white dude over here, he didn't have that thing. And again, that protecting of one's turf, I certainly understand it. When one of my first shows I had, Calvin Murphy was trying to get back in the business. I started having him on regularly. And it wasn't very long before he had a show and I wasn't on the station anymore. There was a time where,
really, you think one had to do with the other?
No. It was just,
I was trying to get some dirt. What?
Well, he was on enough with me that they gave him his own show.
Okay.
And then after I was gone, they moved it around. Carl Dukes was out of the business, had been fired from his station, not a spot. I'm bringing him back on my show, open him up. And wasn't very long before Carl and I were on, then I was gone and Carl was there. And again, it wasn't a direct connection, but I guarantee you, had I not allowed him back on to get,
it would have been harder, if not impossible.
And I was excited for him as anything, because I'm calling him saying, hey man, here's a song you should have. You should do LL Cool J as your theme song when you're coming back. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, that's it. And so the whole Carl Dukes, put your dukes up, and and that LL Cool J, I'm gonna knock you out kind of thing. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. My idea.
Nice.
So that Sean Salisbury, out of radio, back here in Houston, wasn't on the air anywhere. I started bringing him in on my show in the afternoon to come. I was like, come in once a week and do this, and I'm not taking credit for what they've done. Those guys had their own talent,
right? But
it is interesting that their entryway back in was through me. Like, yeah, and people, they would ask me, not people, like whoever the station program director, hey, what do you think? Or a couple of them, I said, hey, I want to have them on. Like, what do you think about having them on? I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, let's do it. Because I wasn't one of those. Nah. I don't.
Oh, and there are plenty.
Because that guy there, he gonna be funnier than me. He gonna dominate the conversation, and trust. I've been on radio stations, and it's only locally, because you go on a station in another town and go off on the host, and y'all back and forth having a great time. They finish it with, I can't wait to get you back on.
Yeah.
You liven things up, or as soon as we hung up, the producer come back and say, man, people calling in saying you was just clowning our boy. That's great. Can you come back next week?
Yep.
But you do it locally,
it's a threat.
You don't hear from them again because you made the host look like a fool.
It's rare. I mean, and that's why, because I feel lucky for the way I got into radio, by winning a contest and then grinding it out on Sundays, and then just the opportunity that they were looking to add a local show to create more local ad revenue. So it was kind of all lucky for me. But there's only so many slots. This isn't where like everybody, you can start your own podcast, but you don't have the opportunity to broadcast it to however many millions of cars are on the road potentially, or hundreds of thousands of cars on the road at one time at some point in the day. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna sound like Chris Rock. I don't necessarily agree with why people do that, but I get it.
I understand. Yeah. And the thing that I know regular listeners don't really understand, or many of them don't. They do once they talk to us enough and get us away from the air and get a feel for it. There's not a whole lot of money out there. They're not paying too many jokers, and so that they're like, man, you're popular, you my favorite guy, you're the only one I want to listen to, like that. So I appreciate that,
and
that ain't, they don't,
it don't translate. I mean, that's this,
they don't do that. Yeah.
I happened to pick two of the worst careers to get into in my 40s, revenue wise, because comedy don't pay shit, radio don't pay shit. Now I combine them, I do all right. But if I was just doing one or the other, it's a lot different, man. And people do think. I think there's a misconception. Now there are people, and I won't mention names specifically because I don't want to. I wouldn't put anybody's business out there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, boy, yesterday's live show with John Wesley, whew,
Y'all got Raw?
we took somebody in. We took
Wes-
somebody. Oh
Wes-
yeah, it's
Wes-
out there.
Yeah, Wesley got he got some
Got baggage.
Well, no, I wouldn't say baggage. Let's say he got some people. He put a contract out.
we took somebody to task.
He
I won't bring it up again, but you know this is unless you get to the point where you're a 15-year vet in the business, then you start making some money. But I mean, I'm 3 years in full time with the show. I'm not balling out of control. I mean, some ones are better than others because you know how the reads and stuff work. But
right.
Yeah, the misconception is that if you're on radio and look, I know TV people, I know actors in the business, I know comedians that you would see on late night TV that live in a room in an apartment in New York with 5 other people. It's a 4-bedroom apartment, and they pay $1,500 for a room and a closet.
I have learned that. And oddly enough, as long as I've been around and as many people as I know and as smart as I think I am, I've only learned that in about the last 5 years or so. When I've started really listening to some comedians podcasts, listening to the satellite radio and hearing the stories of the comedians, because I'm a huge comedian fan. I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. I love what they do. I've been a lifelong fan of that whole genre and world, but I never really got a full grasp or understanding of it. And and even though I got friends who've done it and people like you, I know now I've got much better sense now.
Arnez J, y'all are great friends.
I knew when he first started, and we worked together before he started being a comedian. But I've gotten a sense of like, man, people who are in a movie, and you're like, man, okay, he done made it now. This comedian here, he was doing some stand-up. I saw him at Just Joking the club down the street a couple weeks ago. Now he on a big movie and he doing good. He got it going. And like,
they were just living in their car. They took that money and got a room in a house somewhere because they were probably living in their car.
That paid for some stuff they owed.
Yeah, they still live in their car. It's just a nicer car now. It's a 4-door instead of a 2-door. It's true. I think people see you in a kind of a what we do, which is in the public eye, and they assume wealth. Now you do get a certain level of fame, whether it's local celebrity or international or national celebrity or whatever, and you do, there is the opportunity, but it's very difficult to make a lot of money in show business in any kind or media, really. I mean, I guess I don't know how it works from like a writer's perspective, but everything else I know in media tells me that you really have to be here for a while.
Yeah,
to live really nice.
Some of it is luck of the draw, and some of it is where you go and what you do. I mean, I've been more popular than people at ESPN, but they're at ESPN, and so I mean, there's not a secret, or I'm not divulging anything, but like I was telling you about earlier, I thought I was a pretty big deal here in Houston. I was a pretty big deal in the Big 12, and people knew who I was. And I was like, I'm out there, and newspapers from around the country were calling me up, wanting to see if I was interested in coming. And I was like, I'm at home. I'm in Houston. I don't need or want to go anywhere. And finally, I chose to go to the Boston Globe because the offer was just so good, and it was to cover the Patriots, and it was to move up to the NFL and be the lead writer of the New England Patriots at the Boston Globe, one of the biggest, best newspapers in the country, best sports section in history of sports is the Boston Globe. I mean, the Boston Globe started so much of what we do, but I came into the Boston Globe and I took Michael Smith's job. He left to go to ESPN. Michael Smith was a little younger than me, but he graduated from college down in New Orleans, took the Globe job and was covering the Patriots, and then left to go to ESPN. The reason he left was ESPN was paying like 3 times what the Globe was paying.
And the Boston Globe was probably paying twice what the Chronicle was.
They're like, Jerome, you want this, don't you? I was like, oh, that's pretty good money. That
Damn, that's when you. But it's
Mike
like
Smith said, yeah, it was. and
there's
and
levels. I mean, there's levels to
and
this.
Mike just left ESPN within the last year, and he was making. Oh, I'm gonna be off somewhere, but he's making more than $2 million a year. I know that, and I'm making a
Crazy.
little less than that. Just a little less than that.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking? I know you're drinking something. I know it ain't water.
This just I'm just drinking some coffee.
What? Kiss my ass. There's Hennessy in there, isn't there? That's Hennessy. I know it's Hennessy. That's
I'm black. I gotta drink Hennessy. I don't drink Hennessy. You know me better. You know me. You know I'm a simple man.
this is what I got. This is what I'm rocking.
Look
That
at
Crown
you.
Royal. That Crown Royal hand selected barrel.
Special crown too.
Yeah. I mean, that's for a special night.
Uh,
I'm gonna get naked and do shit I regret. Hey, real quick, no, people are checking in, so I want to read you some of the comments that they're
Oh yeah.
just because I don't want to ignore. But people were asking. AR Platinum and Eric Resendez wanted to know if Dale counted as a black man in radio. Dale Olale.
See,
Yes, he counts, man. He's fucking black.
see, that's not a fair question. Because one thing I brought up my boy Carl Dukes. I used to go at Carl real hard about not being black. It was because it was funny to me.
Right.
I'm sure at some point it wasn't funny to him. If I had been him, I'd been a little sensitive about it, but I didn't give a damn. So I'm careful. That's how I go. I don't know Dale. I don't even know if I've ever even met him face to face, to be honest with you. But no, he ain't black. But the point is, but that's not the point though. He a different kind of black. Like, all right, I mean, like, right? Like,
What? No, please explain what kind of black. I knew it. I'm even putting in the description on this.
See,
Jerome and I are going to talk about
did-
all kinds of shit, and it'll probably get racial.
that didn't come out right. What I'm saying is, we not all the same. So he different.
Like he's into anime. You're into Hennessy.
See, I'm not even in Hennessy. And anime, isn't that some internet porn stuff?
It's just a cartoon.
That's
Doesn't
not
have
a
anything to
porn,
do with porn. That's Hinta or some shit. I don't know. Okay, somebody else.
Oh, you don't know.
I'm just avoiding the. I mean,
But no.
I mean, a friend told me that.
No, I enjoy what he does. Him in the morning. That stuff is funny. He cracks me up a lot.
He's very funny.
Delivers. So yeah, so I joke about the black thing because in a way his flavor is quite a bit different than a ghetto flavor.
Right.
But we're black. Black people aren't all ghetto.
Look, when you and I have done radio, we've had.
That's the funny thing. I don't come across as ghetto in
right.
what I do, but I'm hardcore ghetto. I'm from Acres Home, dog. I'm more fake about it than he is.
Because you and I have done radio, and people have made the joke that you sound white and I sound black.
Black guy, right?
And then Dale sounds like a white guy, and so yeah, I think. But you grew up in Acres Homes, and did you always kind of were people make fun of you like the way you talked? Or did it?
See, that's the thing. I didn't really. I think we've always heard the talk white thing.
Yeah.
Or that's a regular theme in the black community. I wasn't a talk white thing because I didn't talk white. I didn't learn that till much later in life.
I was gonna say, do you turn it on and off? Do you have to? Do you find out if you do a national interview? Because you know Bomani Jones. Let's just say he brings you on ESPN. Do you flip that switch and?
Well, no, that's the thing. I was gonna say it's I do turn it on and off in a way, but there's a certain level that I just am in the way that I am. But Bomani is an intelligent young brother. He's a good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. His parents are college professors.
Yeah.
So he has a flavor and a style that comes from a certain intellect that it is similar to what I am. But we grew up around us.
Right.
So Bomani and I talk completely different. Like if Bomani and I are talking, it's completely different if Bomani and I are talking and somebody else is there.
See, this is so funny because
But we also bring that over there. We're not afraid of being who we are. I'm not hiding it and trying to sound intellectual. No, I'm
right,
gonna talk like I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say I'm a.
right. I'm gonna say I'm fixing
I'm
to.
gonna be. You understand what I'm saying? I'll do
Right.
that. But there's some work in there though.
I get it because when my friends in high school, that's why people say I sound black because all my friends in high school were black. That's just who I. And so you'd always get the you want to be black. No, you are who your friends are. I mean, you're
Yeah.
especially in high school. You start to use the same words. I mean, if you grew up in the South, you're gonna get a little bit of twang. It's just gonna happen, right?
Right.
And so, but my friends were black, and so now doing what I do, we turn it into a joke on the radio. But I really have to be cognizant of it, even when I'm doing radio or when I'm on stage doing comedy. If I'm in Arkansas in Little Rock in front of 250, 300 redneck
Right.
white people, and then I just start talking like I just revert back to high school or what they don't know what the fuck to do. They're like, why is this white dude? You know what people say to me the most? Are you Cajun? They're
Well,
like, are you
you
Cajun?
do a good Ed Ogeron. You did an Ogeron.
Go Tigers.
The thing about that though is like it's one of those things about America that so much of our experience we put into black and white, but you
Mm-hmm.
live the same experience and you're not black. Like,
Right.
and it's not all race. Like you just described the racial element of it, but you're raw on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm Def Comedy. I grew up on Def Comedy Jam.
when you're on radio, you can't be that kind of raw. So
Mm-mm.
you're a different person in delivering your comedy on radio than you are in delivering your comedy on stage. And that's a conscious decision. You're consciously, I assume you sound even a third person different if you're around your in-laws or your wife's family, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different dude. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're not either one of those other two clowns. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we are all like that. It's just when it comes to black, they make it sound like it's so monumental that you can be this way and talk to the people in the hood, but you can talk
Yeah.
to white folk too. It's like, well, no. I mean, I was a flight attendant, so I had to make announcements
You're
out.
gonna be like, all right, motherfuckers, listen up.
Yeah, y'all up? It wasn't no soul.
Everybody put on your goddamn seatbelt.
Down the back of your head, dog. We trying to lead this motherfucker, man. What's up?
The pilot's black. We're gonna be late. Okay, just sit the fuck down, y'all. Okay, look. If I feel like it, I'm gonna bring some snacks and shit. Y'all just shut the fuck up until we get there. All right.
Say what again? I dare you. I never dare you.
I'm tired of these motherfucking crackers on this motherfucking plane.
So yeah. So no. But everybody does that. It's one of those funny things to me too. When I've seen some executive or whatever in a business or a corporation get in trouble for cursing in a meeting and it throws out there and I love and especially me because in journalism there's cursing in the
Oh
news
my gosh.
all day. There's cursing at the press box and all. There's cursing everywhere. So like we can't call out a coach for cussing because journalists and writers and sports guys cuss all the time and athletes
All the time.
there's cussing everywhere. So that like it's disingenuous. It would be disingenuous. And I've written and I'm like, well, the cussing wasn't the problem because that if you gonna dog somebody for cussing,
Yeah, for saying you suck too, motherfucker. That's not the problem.
you need to be a non-cussing person. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
individually you have to be that. I'm not like that. So it's one of those. A lot of times, and outsiders they'll gravitate to what makes them feel right, what they think makes them right. And and when I do talk to youngsters in radio or people trying to get into radio or trying to get into writing and journalism, I go, if your opinion is with the majority all the time, you're probably not really thinking. You're just agreeing with the crowd. Now, if you give it some,
It's the easy way out. It's the safe way out, right? Like you can it's people get scared to formulate an original opinion because they're worried that the listener or the viewer or the reader might be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I'm not watching him no more or listening or reading anymore. But what they don't understand is that the majority of people are they want to hear a different take because it's easy to sit there and ball wash the Texans or to even shit on Bill O'Brien. That's right now. That's the easy thing. It would be more difficult to come out and be like, look, the man knows how to coach, and try to prove that point differently. So you're right. I think to have a different perspective, even if don't make shit up, but
right.
It's okay to think outside the box, literally, and have something different. Yeah, and take a chance.
Yeah, and when you really don't give it a whole lot of thought and don't form your own opinion, you will be Bill O'Brien sucks as a coach, and he always does. He never makes a good call. He never makes the right decision. He is terrible 100%, as opposed to somebody like you and I, we go, he's terrible. I would have fired him yesterday, but that was a good call.
But credit where credit is due. I always try to do that.
Wow, that team could have folded, but they showed up today. Yep. I'll give Bill O'Brien credit because he got them ready to show up today after they sucked last week. Now, the reason they sucked last week was because of him too. But I'm going to give him credit today.
Yeah. And he had that one good call.
Some people can't do that. Nope. They just decide this is where I am. And that's not an opinion. You just rolling. Yep. You're not thinking at all. You're just saying.
A couple things real quick. So Walt Walker said he went to school with Michael Smith. Ask Jerome. This is from Aaron Salazar. He said, ask Jerome, who was his favorite player to cover in the Big 12?
Oh, man. That one I'd have to give some thought to. Of all the questions, I don't know if I've ever been asked that one about the Big 12. That's a good question. Now, I got to know a lot of guys really close over the years who I still talk to now. So there's plenty of them that I know now who would skew that argument. Like TJ Ford, for instance, who I've known since then and was one of my favorites. But in covering it at the time, I mean, wow, I really had to break that down. That I'd have to give that one some thought. But there's so many guys that I liked and got to know really well. Especially, like I said, it was the Big 12, so
a lot of football guys, or everything.
I covered everything. Well, okay. Football and basketball.
Yeah. You covered Big 12 volleyball and swimming?
Football and basketball, that was everything. No. And when I left the Big 12 to go to A&M, to go to cover the Patriots, well, immediately when I got to the Patriots, there were several guys who played at A&M there. So I got to be really cool with them immediately because I already knew them, So Ty Warren was a guy that got to be really close with and spent a lot of time and got to know him. And now I know him really well too. So he was one of my favorites to cover. But part of that is
because he was there.
After I moved to the next level, he was still there, and we continued going from there. You know what I mean? So but the great thing about covering the Big 12, the way I did, and the way the newspaper world was then, and the money we had, dude, there was times I left on trips, and this started at the beginning. I covered the Big 12. There was not a Big 12 team in Houston.
Yeah,
there's not a Big 12 school in Houston. So I was on the road. My whole job was on the road. I was in Austin, Lawrence, Kansas, Ames, Iowa, all over Manhattan, Kansas, wherever.
Sound like my comedy career.
12, so I would go to Missouri, Kansas basketball games.
Ooh, God bless.
Kansas and spend 4 or 5 days before they played a basketball game and hang out with Heinrich and Drew Gooden and those guys. And I'm the big shot out of town media guy here to write a story about our team. So they let me hang out at practice and spend time with the guys. And I'm at lunch and dinner with players all over the place. So it was just cool.
And now, were you single at the time also?
Oh Lord, yes.
Oh Lord, we got to get some of these road stories.
That was, I may say some road stories.
Anything goes, man. You gotta.
Surprised about this little joint down a road where I don't even know what road it was, but it was Lawrence, Kansas. And on Monday nights, you drove down the highway, and there were some TPs there on the side of the road. It was a TP motel. The motel rooms are made out of TPs,
like actual Indian. Yes. Native American, I should say.
TPs, yes. That was a motel. You turn right on that street. Go down about 3 miles down the dark road.
Hold on, let me write this down.
And then there's a dirt road to the right. Make a right on the dirt road.
I'm out.
You come into a clearing, and that's where the joint was. It was like 2 for 1 on Monday nights. So Kansas would play big Monday basketball games. And by 2 for 1, it was back in the old days where it was like the beer was like $5. So you go, give me a beer. They put 2 of them on the table.
Oh shit.
Table dancing was $5.
Oh
You go,
shit.
2 for 1. So you walk in and go, hit $30. I'm gonna be here for a minute.
I'm gonna be drunk and slimy when I leave this motherfucker for $30.
And then you turn an
Look
expense
like you
report
got
to the
slimed
Chronicle.
like in Ghostbusters and shit, and all you spent was $30, and then expensed it. Oh fuck! Now we're spilling the tea. This is what I wanted.
And
middle of
Lincoln,
Kansas
Nebraska
now.
had a couple
No.
holes
Oh,
in the
hold on.
walls.
Let's go back real quick. What do the women look like for $5? Do they do they have all their body parts?
This was a college town.
Oh,
So they were college students.
oh, damn.
No, it was shocking. Yeah, I was like, oh, these are not working women. These are working girls. These are students.
Working girls.
That
You're so stupid.
that did not come out right.
How many working girls did you pay, Jerome? The people want to know.
Work is a job. So it's words have meaning, Barry.
Got
words,
you. Oh, okay.
You can't go being all tawdry with the words. I'm speaking the King's English here.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Did you get to know Peterson from OU? John wants to know. Adrian Peterson.
Adrian came. I spent a little bit of time with him, but not a whole heck of a lot. But when I left, right, he was probably in right after his sophomore year, because I think his first year was 03, maybe 04, and I left in 05.
Okay.
After the 04 season. So, but I certainly saw his freshman game at UT. I did piss Mac Brown off. And even Bob Stoops was messing with me once because I wrote a column after that, or my story about that game, or a column later, was his freshman year against UT. He ran for 230 yards or something. It was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I wrote something like, every time they called a play that Adrian Peterson didn't get the ball was a horrible play call. He was punking the whole University of Texas. It was ridiculous. And
they called a pass for a touchdown, 93 yards. Terrible call.
He put on a show, but no, I did not get to know him that well, because back then I didn't spend as much time at OU that particular time, but I spent some time there before when Stoops first got there. Stoops got there in 99, and so I spent a lot of time there. I will say there was one time I spent a weekend in Norman. Went to a OU football game. I don't remember who they played, but I played in Kelvin Sampson. I know Kelvin Sampson might be my favorite person to cover.
There you go. Okay.
And got to know him real well. But I played in a golf tournament with Kelvin Sampson that weekend. He had his coach's tournament or whatever, basketball tournament, because the football game was going on that weekend. And he told me, come play in, and I played with him, etc. And so Texas always had their like a media luncheon every Monday. So I leave OU on Sunday, go to Austin to be at the Texan luncheon, wake up on Monday morning, just throw on a pullover shirt and go to the luncheon. And Casey Hampton was the first dude I saw when I walked in to the elevator to go upstairs where the luncheon was. And he's like, oh, you just gonna wear that shit right up in here like that, huh? I was like, what are you talking about? And I didn't realize I'd put on the golf shirt from OU, so I'm showing up at a UT thing when they get ready to play OU.
Stupid ass.
OU shirt on. He's like, you just gonna wear that shit right up in here like that, huh?
Disrespecting the whole school.
Casey was about, 6'2", 330. Kind of a mean joker, but we were cool. But he wasn't joking. But I was stuck the whole day wearing this OU thing. Like, really? You with the enemy.
I wish I had a jacket in the car.
It don't matter to me. And then, of course, they lost like 60-14 or something.
Man, what was more fun from a road perspective? Being a flight attendant or covering the Big 12?
Oh, flight attendant. Yeah. I mean, because
What's your favorite story?
as much as I love about the Big 12, we're talking Manhattan, Kansas, Ames,
Yeah.
Iowa. These not happening towns.
You
They're all little Stillwater, Oklahoma. Norman, Oklahoma. We're not talking real
no.
Waco, Lubbock. I mean, and Lubbock is a whole lot better than people get it credit for, but it's Lubbock.
Yeah.
As a flight attendant, I could be in LA on Friday, Chicago on Saturday, New York on Sunday, every week for a whole month. I could be in, Rio one night, Mexico City another night, Monterrey, Mexico the next, and back home. Yeah, I'm all
Damn.
over the world. It not even close. Oh God, it was ridiculous.
What's your favorite story? Because you, huh?
For all you fancy cell phone contact information, he actually had a little black book. You know what I'm saying?
You did?
But yeah, cause I mean,
You'd be like, all right, Escuela down in
and that mine was listed alphabetically
Oh, you didn't list it by stars?
by city.
Oh, really?
So you go to the L, that's all the LAs and Las Vegas's. It was easier that way, because the name didn't matter. The name didn't matter at all. It's where you're
Wait,
from.
the
And you
name didn't matter? What would you just be like?
hit, so I'm going to LA every Friday night in April. Let me dial up all the LAs. I'm
Hello,
there every Friday
LA1.
night.
What's up, girl? Did you not know their names? How the hell did you call it? Was everybody boo? Did you just, hey, what's up, boo?
It was listed by LA, but you put that name there.
Oh,
Let
okay.
not be
Okay.
ridiculous. You had to at least just know what it was. The last thing you want to do, which has happened, is show up waiting on somebody. You're like, I don't know what she look like. She just in the book. It can't be terrible. You're in the book, but I don't know who it is.
What was the lowest you would go?
Like they could text you and say, I'm here.
Right.
You We used to have to work back in the day. You had to know because you could be waiting on somebody and
God damn. What?
or never know the person showed up because they couldn't call you.
Oh, shit.
Waiting if they could walk in and leave and
You just, yeah.
until they got back home, so they could check their
So,
message and go,
and then
"Hey,
you'd be
I'm
like,
here. Where you at?"
you not going to come back or what? We're still going to do this, right? We're still going to.
Just stay there. I'll come on through. Let's make it
That
easier
is
for
such a
both of
dude
us.
thing to say. Look, I'll drive to you. I know it's 2 hours. Oh, that's so funny. So, flight attendant was more fun. What's your favorite story from the back in the days? The one that you can tell, because I know you told me some that I know for a fact you will never tell. I wish you would, because I think the people would love it.
Yeah, favorite.
But what's the that one story that's right on the edge of, oh, he's nasty.
What? Why I got to be nasty?
Because I remember the stories you told me. You're nasty, bro. You're
No.
nasty.
Let me tell one about one of my boys.
Oh, one of your boys? My boy. We used to call him the train conductor.
One of my
There was
boys.
one, and then my other boy, we called him a plumber because he laid a lot of pipe.
Well, it was wild and free, man. It was a different world. It was a different age. I mean, no, there literally there are too many to even narrow down. Some of my favorites though are stuff like there was one plane, and it was the all of Continental Airlines at the time. They had hundreds of planes, but they had one airplane that was a unique airplane where it had a flight attendant seat was right next to regular seats because there was a door in the side of the plane.
Mhm.
Usually on the sides there's only windows. Well, this one had a door on the side, so a flight attendant had to sit close to the door. So they said a flight attendant, like like the A, B, and C seats.
Right.
The flight attendant sat in the C seat right next to A and B.
Yeah.
So when you work that flight or that position, you and back then it wasn't all as electronic as it is now, so we could move people around. So me and my boy brothers, we sat in that seat. We'd be at whoever's working the front would be check them out as they come in, and we go, oh, I'm sorry, your seat has been changed. You're in 11B.
You are a fucking dog.
Because you get to sit.
You see that black man in the back with the 12-inch penis?
You,
I mean, that's not. I'm sorry. I mean peanuts. He's got 12 bags of peanuts. You're gonna sit next to him.
Yeah. So, and it was amazing how often it worked out. You know what I mean? It was one particular night we're going to Orlando. I made the switch, hooked my boy up with somebody sitting right next to him. We left the airport to get on the shuttle to go to the hotel, and this beautiful woman comes on the shuttle with us, and like, oh, she's with my boy, and I was like, that's 11B. You the man, dog. You the man.
How many times did it work for you?
Like I said, I was just talking about my boy right now. It was,
what? You're breaking up. What happened?
That same night, I crashed a Hertz rent-a-car Christmas party at the hotel. So,
what?
That's as scandalous as I got.
Oh man, please. I've heard. I want to know. I know stories of you with. I'm not gonna put your dirt out there. What's the? Do you have any stories that involve? How can I put this? You and was there any fraternizing amongst people on the plane?
Oh, that happened all the time. I mean, we would catch people joining the Mile High Club pretty regularly. Yeah.
No. I mean, like the other flight attendants. Was there like?
No. It was much more of that involved passengers who
really
boyfriend and girlfriend, and they want to join the Mile High Club, so they want to hook up. Yeah, no, it was.
Would they do it in the seats or would they go to the bathroom?
Yeah. So one would go into the bathroom, leave the door unlocked, and hang in there. Then the other one come in like nobody sees her slipping in.
Like you didn't notice that.
Right. Nobody noticed that. Nobody noticed the two of you gone for 38 minutes.
And he's all flushed.
Rustling around in the lab, Oh, no. Come all out, shuffling, put the clothes back
wrinkled
together.
And shit.
Nobody saw that at all,
Ma'am, you got something all over your face, ma'am. Oh, I was putting on lotion in there. Really? You was putting on lotion. Okay, something about Mary.
These flights, the wide body flights where the lavatories are really large, was where you got a lot more. And we're talking, some of these 9, 12, 15-hour flights are to be pretty ridiculous. Yeah. People are like, yeah. So that, and sometimes it was more entertaining than others. I mean, because, some of these were like, could be some really hot.
Did people ever try to get in there? Did fat people ever try to get in there and bang one out in them little ass bathrooms?
They can't. What sex is only limited to skinny folk? If that was the case,
in the plain bathrooms, it is. Bro, I could barely get my fat ass in there to pee.
But two things. One, like I said, I was talking about the wide body planes where the labs are a little larger, generally speaking, for the long run. But trust me, you got enough motivation. You don't need a whole lot of room to do what you're trying to do. So don't act like you couldn't do it in the closet if you needed to. And
that's my move anyway. I just put it in there and lay there until something happens.
So wait, so you've never done the Mile High Club?
Never.
It's too bad for you, Barry.
I know. I jerked off under a blanket once. Does that count? Just fuck with you. I've never done that. Are you kidding me?
The reason we can't get a blanket on the plane right now, and I'm freezing my nuts off all the time, because the blankets are disgusting because people like you.
The closest I ever got to anything like that was two chicks that sat next to me shared a blanket, and I told everyone it was a threesome. That was just like, this is as close to a threesome as I'm ever going to get, is these two chicks are sharing a blanket. And nothing happened. But that's literally as close to a threesome as I ever got.
There was plenty of that, too, where where somebody, they wouldn't even go to the lab. They just do it under a blanket or,
what?
Try to cover up or, and that was usually more oral than anything. But
she'd be like, I dropped my pen. And then like 20 minutes later, it's like, man, did you find the pen?
Right. Do you need your mouth to get this pen?
Also, again, ma'am, you got something on your face. This
Yeah,
is a theme, ma'am.
and it's one of those where you generally, depending on, and like you can't get away with that on a full flight. But if it's empty, it's late at night,
Like
there's
whatever.
only two people in first class, do what y'all got to do. I don't care. It's not a big deal. But I I used to
How
enjoy
often
it.
would it happen? I'm fascinated by this. Like
Oh no,
how often?
this was not unusual. No, I mean this is, people would try it all the time, and especially then, unlike now, the planes were a lot emptier pretty
Yeah.
regularly too. And it depends on the flight that you're on. You could be on flights where there's not a lot of people, there's plenty of empty seats, and you got a whole back row to yourself, or you're in first class, there's 14 first class seats, and there's only 3 people up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all the automatic upgrades, first class is almost always full. So it's quite a bit different. And it depends on where you're coming from. A flight to Vegas is a whole lot more of a party flight than a flight to Omaha. You know what I mean? So
True. Yeah.
people are going to Vegas like this is party. I used to work, there was a good stretch of time that I worked a red eye round trip to Vegas from Houston.
Mm.
DC-10 is an old airplane. They don't even fly them anymore. But this DC-10 had an upstairs, had a section that, like what you might call the business section now. Well, back then there was no seats in that section. There was a bar. So you walk on the plane and the bar was right there. The
Damn.
bar would open once we got up to, you know, cruising altitude. I'd open up the bar and you can come from all over the plane, come in, buy drinks, and have a
Was
good
this
time.
back when you could smoke on a plane?
You could smoke on the plane. You could,
Crazy.
yeah. I mean, and so, and that was a flight to Vegas every night. Left Houston at 7 o'clock, heading to Vegas, and and it was a whole.
I
I
bet
mean,
that shit was wild.
oh man, and then coming back from Vegas, you left Vegas at 2 o'clock Vegas time. Every night at 2 o'clock in the morning, the red eye coming back from Vegas. So you'd have people who were excited and happy about they won something and they're heading
Uh-huh.
back. They're ready to come to the bar and kick it, or people who are sad and upset because they lost it and they come to the bar to kick it, and they're like, "Well, I I lost all my money. I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna get kicked out of my house when I get home. The least I can do is have one to finish it off on a good note, you know."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Here's some goldfish."
I'm sorry you lost everything, including your wife.
You want a Jack and Coke?
Here's
Here's
some
some
pretzels.
goldfish.
Jack and Coke and some
and,
goldfish.
and here's a tip jar.
Get used to it, because your broke ass, this is all you're going to be able to afford is some well whiskey and Coke and some goldfish with your broke
lost
ass.
$5,000. What's 50 more? Just come on. Talk to Jay. Yeah, make you feel better about
Tell
yourself.
me what your problems are. That's outstanding.
But I'm sure there are people out there who fell in love on airplanes, who met somebody on an airplane and fell in love because they
That'd be
just
fucking
started
weird,
talking.
though, right?
No, why is it more weird than meeting somebody at a bar, or on a bus, or
I
you
don't
know?
know, because I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm on an airplane. I don't. If you talk to me on an airplane, I fucking hate you. I want to put on my headphones, watch my little movie, or take my seat. Because then if you talk to me, you got to breathe on me with that fucking hot ass breath, and we're too close to be talking like this.
See, that's the post 9/11 travel. See,
That's how it is
it's
now?
harder to travel now. Back in the day, it was easier to travel. There was no lines at security to get in. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to take off your belt and your shoes, and everybody could go through security. You didn't have to have a ticket, So it was just
That's true.
it was just much more of a comfortable travel situation. And like I said, and planes weren't full, so you had room to breathe. And yeah, some people don't want to be bothered, but now you don't want to be bothered because by the time you sit on the airplane, you'd have went through so much crap. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
had trouble parking, had trouble getting through security, and they didn't scanned you all butt naked through.
I know y'all looking at my dick in this thing.
I
I
know
know
what
it.
y'all looking at up
Don't
in here.
judge me.
Man, they yelling at you, took your shoes off, you walked on, you forgot you had your holy
Man.
socks on today, and your shoes.
And as soon as I get in that little booth, I'm like, look, I just want everybody to know I was swimming earlier.
And then your brother, you get in there, and they don't have to say put your hands up. You already done it, and you're like, no, I
He's
ain't
got a
never done
weapon
this
on
before.
him. That's my dick, man. That's not a weapon.
Yeah.
That's my dick.
No, they're like, look, oh, he put his hands up because he do this all the time. He been arrested before,
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
I
Don't
can't
shoot.
breathe. Like, motherfucker, what? That's not. Get out of the thing, sir.
So by the time you get to the plane, and then you get to the other side, and you go through security, you thirsty, you spend $8 on a little tiny glass bottle of water thing, and you might go to the Popeyes there and get a 2-piece for $12.80, twice the price on the street. Everything is a problem traveling. It's just irritating.
Dude.
And so when you sit down, no, don't talk to me. I don't want
Don't. Yeah, I don't want to have a conversation. You're probably the one that farted. I smell it. I don't know which one of these 75 people on this fucking plane farted, but one of y'all did, and that's uncalled for because we're in this little ass plane. I hate
but as a flight attendant though, back then especially, I mean, like, there's a lot of people are going. Some of them are going on business and they've had a trying time, and some of them are going
Lost the
for a
deal or
job
won the deal.
So they're excited about that moment, and others are going on vacation because they've never gone, or they're going to visit their grandparents. And it's like, as a writer, I see all these people. Everybody has a story, you know what I mean? And so that was the one thing I used to always say about what made it, one reason made it an exciting job. Besides, it was different every day. I'm going to a different place every day at a different time in a different situation. I'm also seeing, depending on the flight, 200-300 different people every trip, as opposed to a regular job
Right.
where you go every day at the same time. You walk in, there's Lucy at the front desk, there's Sally who's desk over there, there's Bob who works over there, and Jim's office in the corner. You see the same people every day, all day, where I'm like, I walk on an airplane, it's a whole different, and if I don't like those people, they getting off in 2 hours. And I got 200 more coming on, and like, oh, the contestants
11B, man.
the contestants for Miss USA flying on today's flight. Hello, ladies.
Is that true?
Upgrade for 2 of you right here in first class.
Ma'am, you 11B. Ma'am, you 11B1. You got to sit in her lap.
Exactly. I mean, and we used to have that power where we're like, hey, have a seat. And of course, I got to meet celebrities that I wouldn't, especially then, I wouldn't have met. Now I've gotten to meet a lot as a journalist, but before then, I mean, we get NBA and teams traveled on regular airplanes all the time, so you used to meet those people, actors and actresses. I had Farrah Fawcett on a flight, talked to her for like 3 hours one time. I knew it was gonna happen, but
really,
but I thought
you didn't get to tear her back out.
It wasn't for a lack of try. I was
swinging for the fences.
Boy, if I'd had that buzzer like Altuve, I'd have hit it. But I didn't know what pitch was coming. I was
Jerome, get off the plane. No, don't take my shirt off. Farrah's gonna know I'm not gonna get that ass. No.
Oh, but
who's the most famous
like
person you
slept
slept with,
man.
Jerome? Who's the most famous person you slept with?
Huh?
Who's the most famous person that you slept with?
Oh no, I didn't even thought about that.
You can say.
Huh?
You can say. It's just us and like maybe, I mean, we a couple hundred people.
So think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it been that famous.
Huh?
There hadn't been anybody that famous.
I don't believe you. If you tried to fuck Farrah Fawcett,
what I did, tried to is a whole different thing. Then.
Well, that's just one example where you didn't get it. But I'm sure there are. Listen, like I said, you have told me a lot of stories, young man. I know.
This is not what you think I'm drinking. I'm good.
Damn. All right. Well, I tried, everybody listening. I tried to get Jerome to tell us that he slept with Cicely Tyson, and it didn't.
What, Miss Jane Pittman was 93 years old? What?
Look. Okay. AR Platinum has a question. What was your most memorable moment from the rush? That's a good question. I was going to ask you more about the flight attendant stuff, but that the rush was. I don't even know what you guys did in the ratings, but I know that.
Hear about it, right? Because it was pretty unique. I mean, and this is not bragging or anything, because good or bad is subjective.
Sure. But
it was extremely unique. We literally just came on, and I know you try to do it, and you often succeed, where you're on for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you just act a fool. You just
Yep.
you have a day where you leave and you're like, man, I just acted a fool for 3 hours. That was awesome. Well, we were only on for 2, so there was fewer stale moments. We didn't have that time to breathe,
That
and there
extra
were
hour.
times we just literally clowned for 2 hours. And I'm talking, and Dave Tepper was just he was so bad as a program director and producer of a show, because nothing was out of bounds, nothing was off limits. So when I say bad, I'm talking like he was never the one to pull back. So
Right.
imagine I'm the one pulling back.
Oh shit.
Only imagine how ridiculous we got. And
Yes.
dude, there were many, but the one time, and somebody tweeted it at me the other day. There was one time, I don't know how we got into it. We got into something about rap and rapping, and I don't know what we were talking about, but all of a sudden Tepper decides he wanted to rap,
Oh,
started playing a rap beat, and Tepper started rapping about Jesus. Oh God. Oh no, I know what it was. There was a dude on some TV show that did some kind of Jesus rap. Tepper was like, I can do that. And he did a rap called The Box of Rocks. And it was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was impromptu. He made it up on the spot.
he didn't plan it.
No, he
That's
didn't.
amazing. That's the best shit.
And it hit him, and he just started doing it, and he was making it up, and he stressed it. He kept going because he wouldn't let it. And I was dead. I was falling over the place, rolling, and he just kept on going. And he has it somewhere. I'll have to play. It was hilarious. I'm sure you've heard
I've
the
heard a promo for it or something like that.
yeah, but you probably heard the pepper spray incident with John. Have you ever heard?
Oh
Have you
yeah.
ever heard?
Oh yeah. 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 Not wise guys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This one was along those lines of how just you don't even have to be in the moment. You just listen to it and you'll crack up. And but it was a sign of, I'm like, we going to hell, but it's worth it because this was great. This is
The
great
ride is
radio.
amazing. Walt Walker just said Box of Rocks was my shit.
You know what I'm saying? People still throw it up there, and I'm like, that's how ridiculous it was. That it
Yeah.
was. I mean, again, it's not like the show was on for 20 years and people have gotten
That's
best
what I,
of shows.
that's what I was gonna say. The only, I mean, it comes up often when we talk about ESPN radio and the different shows, past, present, different personalities that have come and gone. And inevitably, if that's a discussion that we're having on The Usual Suspects, we start getting a flood of text with, man, I missed the rush. Even when you and I do shows, when you fill in for Joel, people are like, fuck, I miss Jerome and Tepper doing the rush. I don't want to say cult classic because I don't think that's doing it justice, but it wasn't a show that you like, that you heard that got a lot of run citywide.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah,
it was
it
so
was like
popular.
that because
It was almost a cult classic.
yeah. But it was also one of the reasons it comes up so much with you is, one, before then, I always thought I was the personality. I'm the guy who brings the funny, the silly. And Dave said, "Hey, let's do this show. You lead and let him do it." And Dave, he hasn't done it like you've done it, but he was a stand-up comedian. He started as a stand-up comedian out in LA, and he worked the clubs there, etc. And then got into radio. And so y'all bring a lot of the same energy in that sense, where you're just gonna say what you're gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
And the black white thing was there, same. So when you and I do a show, it takes me back to those moments, and I'm sure the people listening go like, "Oh, they sound like Jerome." And it was the same thing. People used to call in and say, "Dave the black dude and Jerome's the white
Right.
dude." A lot of the exact same stuff, and those are good memories. But man, when me and you do a show, it ain't scripted,
No.
planned. It don't ever go where it's supposed to, where we even thought it was going to. A lot of times where we finish up and I go, man, I had a whole list. And this fool took me way over there, and I never brought it back because we were gone.
Are you like me? I feel like that's the best show. if you did not get to maybe but one or two sports things on your rundown, now you may get into a sports off topic, but on the rundown, on the list of shit that you had, if you did only one or two, that was an amazing show.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. My thing is, if I'm doing a show and then I have to look on my list to find something to go to next,
Yeah,
not going well because
right.
I'm looking like, man, what did I have? What I got to find something. It's
Yep.
not going well, and you and I will, and it's a natural flow, obviously, but a lot of it is we both have those kind of minds that we're looking for a reason to go at the other guy or looking for something where we go. And sometimes not even looking, that's probably not even fair. We're aware when the other person says something that needs to be.
In your mind, you go, got him.
What you just say? What you talking about? She ain't fine. You don't know what fine is.
Dude,
We spend hours.
What was that? It was fine versus
A horrible definition of it, and won't let it go. And it was beautiful the first time. It was even better the second time, and I'm still amazed that it was so. And people were like, "Oh, I got to call in because Jerome don't know what
was
you're
it?
talking
It
about."
was fine versus. Oh no, it was different definitions of fine. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what does fine mean? Fuck, we spent probably an hour and a half of a 3-hour a sports talk show on the definition of fine.
Oh no, fine is this. No,
That
no.
shit was
Fine.
so funny though.
You like fine is the face, and I'm like, no.
No, fine is
Fawn is the body. Ain't got nothing to do with the face. And it was just, and then it got racial, and I was like, well, black people know. Me and they go, nah, Jerome. I'm like, well, you ain't black. That's your problem.
Is this how it was with you and Tepper though? Is that was every day with you guys?
Every day, 2 hours a day, just wherever it went, just ridiculous. I mean,
Did y'all do any show prep? Like
Oral Victory Monday was because John always play that "It's Friday" song every Friday on the Blitz with Fred and AJ. I showed up on Monday after one of them Texans games, and I'm like, we need like a Moral Victory Monday. It's Monday. And I just started singing it. Of course, he's recording it. He was like, "Did play the Moral Victory Monday?" What's and it was Tepper's thing of every Monday. He's like, well, nobody died. That's a victory. It's Moral Victory Monday. and this was the season they lost like 9, 10, 12 in a row, whatever it was, the 2-14 and 14. So, or whatever year that was when they went 2-14.
Kubiak's last year, right?
Yeah. So every Monday they needed a moral victory. So, but stuff like that. I mean, and you guys do stuff that, and I know it's great for you when you hear from people who say, or they see you and they go, man, you said so-and-so, it killed me. And some of it you don't even remember, but you're entertaining people. That's fine.
I never remember. I'll have people be like, bro, when you did this or when you said, and I'm like, fuck, I don't, because I think, and Joel, and he'll admit this now, but he was very hesitant because I was very big on, and I got it from listening to you and listening to, the Blitz. And so Shock and I when I started radio, all I had was who I knew as the blueprint. So, I would, Fred and AJ and Tepper was the PD at the time. And it was all about organic, just whatever, just be in the moment. Because being in the moment is the best radio. Mm-hmm. If you try to just script it and okay, we're gonna hit the right tackles in hour one and segment one and then left tackles in segment two, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to Shock and we wouldn't even prep together. And that's the thing. Did you and Dave get together and show prep?
That was one of his big things, and I'm talking about that with Lauren and Rachel about our show on Sunday morning. Like, no, you prep alone. You bring all the stuff that you think is important and you want to talk about, and then we'll go at it.
Because it's all opinion.
Your own thoughts and your own theory. You don't want to know what I think about it because I want your natural reaction to what I think about it.
Yeah.
natural reaction is going to be way better than if as we said when we were doing right when we were logging on here.
Exactly.
You know, like we wasted that
Yep. Yep.
because that might be the best line I got all night. I've already used it because we've discussed it, and your reaction will not be the same. And now I do TV now, so I get a much better feel for it. I'm even stronger about it now than I used to be because on TV you get to cut. Let's shoot that again. And I'm like, no, I want the natural laugh. You say something that's funny, I want to laugh to it. I don't want to laugh to it for the fifth time after you said it on the fifth take.
Yep.
It's not the real laugh, because the
And,
real
and
laugh is going to be how I really feel about it.
and it's funny because as much as I am on a proponent of organic conversation on radio, I'm more of when it comes to comedy
It's scripted.
and TV. I'm like, can I do it again? And you're like, nope. I just want it. If you fuck up a word, just keep going. Just I want it to be natural.
Mm-hmm.
And that was different for me because I get that in radio because I want it to feel like a conversation, but I want perfection in TV. And sometimes that's not good. So that's why I like where you're like, no, you get one shot.
Yeah, the perfection sound to me anyway, and there's debate there, so it's not like I'm 100% on this, but it sounds so canned and so locked in. But I hope to think that when you see some of your stuff that's not strictly perfect, where you stumble over a word and then correct yourself, it seems much more natural and in flow, and it's not a performance, it's just funny. And sometimes the mistake can be funny. I mean, and to get how the sausage is made, sometimes we write not mistakes in, but we write the correct, not even correction. We write like I like it when you have to explain a joke, because in my mind when I first heard the joke, it wasn't as clear. So I'm like, let's explain it a little bit, just to make it funnier. Because sometimes the explanation is even funnier. Like, well, I said that because Bill Belichick is this kind of guy. I said that because Robert Kraft and the massage parlor. Remember?
Yeah.
And the explanation adds humor to it to me.
I want to give you credit for something because Remy and I talk about this, and I don't think you and I have really talked about this a lot, but because this is the whole point of me doing this is just I want to talk to my friends and give people the opportunity to hear like if you and I were at a bar. So I wanted to give you the props on this because as a comic, I'm very aware when it comes to writing comedy and for especially the segment for the Houston Sports Show that I do. It's all jokes, and I hired comics that I'm friends with because I'm smart enough to know that one voice is great, but four funny dudes writing jokes is even better because then you just get the best of the best every week.
Right.
And what I respect about you so much is that I can send you a script that four seasoned, professional, paid comics that are really good at what we do have written 4, 5, 6 pages of jokes, and you can look at it and still punch it up. And I'm telling you, man, that is not an easy thing to do. And I was just the first a couple times you sent me stuff, I was like, damn. I don't think you could sit down and write jokes per se like we could.
And that's not what I do. Yeah,
but you recognize funny, and then you recognize where funny was missed.
And that's one of the weird things
amazing.
I think that is one of those where you feel like you're patting yourself on the back. And I'll say this, that I'm sure thousands of other people think the same way, but I'm such a fan of comedy and stand-up comedy. But man, I watch a stand-up routine and I go, man, he should have said this, or she should have said it this way, or she should have left that part out, or she shouldn't have cussed right there. It wasn't necessary. It would have been funny without it. And I'm a cusser, so there are times I'm like, boy, if they'd have just done one little thing, and it wasn't until I really got into stand-up comedy that I started realizing, oh, this is the 75th time the person has done this routine. This other time, they did it that way that I thought was funnier than this time.
Yeah.
And it's, okay, because you're doing it live, so you're gonna drop a word here or there. And I learned that with, Richard Pryor. I can do word for word his album, word for word, not miss anything. And then I saw a film of one. I was like, hey, that word was in the wrong place.
You're like, wait a minute, yeah.
And Eddie Murphy, if you hear the album version of Delirious or Raw is different than the movie that we saw, because the
Or
movie
if you
was
went and
shot
saw him,
one spot on that stage, that particular 2 nights or whatever.
yeah.
The other one was different, and it's and then like and those little subtle differences with those kind of jokers, they're so funny. Those little subtle differences don't make a difference. It's hilarious anyway. But as a fan, I go, oh, that's different. But there are other people where I'm like, boy, if that person would just send me their stuff.
I can punch it up. There are, but here's the thing though. There are plenty of people that'll say that. There are plenty of people that'll come up to me after a show and be like, "Hey, man, I really thought this was funny. Have you ever thought about saying this?" And to your point, it's like, yeah, dog, I've done that joke 1,000 times. Walt Walker is in the chat, and Walt, more than anybody, I think, has seen me perform, including my wife. Walt is such a day one supporter of mine, and I'm so blessed to have him as a fan and a friend now. But Walt has seen me, and he's seen the same fucking joke. So Walt could tell you, I do some shit, the same movements, the same. I mean, it's all, it's a science of, okay, if I do this, they laugh. So I'm gonna keep doing this. Every time I do the joke, I'm gonna do that. So you're right, but you do try it different ways, and I think that it is difficult for people to see something and say, hey, if you did this, that would also be funny, and that's what you're really good at. When we write a joke, is you're like, well, add this or take this out, and sometimes we disagree. I'm not, you and I have.
Because what I sent you last week, you didn't use 2 of my 3 best ones. I was like, why he didn't do that? Because that was good stuff. That was some of the best I could deliver.
Look,
and in fact, I'm not even joking. I was when I finally
mad?
saw it, I was like, okay. I was saying, oh,
Motherfucker.
I said to myself, oh, he must have just used his original. He didn't even use mine. And after about the first 2 or 3, then you got the one and you did mine. I was like, so he got it and just chose not to do it.
But
That's how you gonna do it.
But that's. Yeah, I should have brought this up. No, but look, but that's just.
Works, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, philosophically, I sometimes I'm like, okay, I like this more than this, and you may be like, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to do this.
But
And
that's also why when it's in writing only,
mm-hmm.
back to you, I go a suggestion.
Yep.
It really is a suggestion because it's your performance. It ain't mine, so I can't make you say. I'm like, no, this is a suggestion. If you like it, run with. Because if you don't feel it, it ain't gonna come across anyway. You
Right.
know? And that's one. And I it amazed me when I saw, as I started really studying comedy, of their comedians who they'll write a joke. Sometimes they'll work on a joke for months and months. One joke, months and months and months until they hit the right. Boom, that's it. And it's
If
like
you like, one of the jokes that kind of helped me.
they just sit down and write it and just put it on stage tomorrow.
No, yeah, I like it. The joke that kind of went semi-viral, at least locally for me, was that Hurricane Harvey, Joel Osteen, Mattress Mac bit.
Mm-hmm.
The original was like 45 seconds. The final joke, not even the video, was 2 minutes. The whole joke is 5. So there's there's iterations of that joke, and I still do things differently. And I still, if I do the joke, I still change things up a little bit to experiment with it. I don't think a joke is ever really done. You may get lazy and be like, okay, this is how I do this joke. And as a comic, you decide that it's it. But jokes could always be changed to be funnier, always be added to.
Time they can change with the circumstance changes. You can add to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that joke, I don't even know what you would even do to it. But now that with the coronavirus has hit, there's a whole different layer to it now. That could be added to it.
Yeah, the original Harvey joke when I started off is I learned a lot going through Hurricane Harvey. I learned I don't need to spend 5 days trapped in the house with my wife. I'm gonna redo that motherfucker and be like, I don't need to spend 37 days quarantined with my wife. I'll tell you that much. Shit.
And like I saw this. Somebody, it might have been you, but no, somebody texted me a thing saying they can't find it now, but there's a joke out there with a dude and I'm sure you've seen it too, but now there's you quarantine, whatever, you have 2 choices. A, quarantine with your wife and kids, and then the person jumps in and go, B, I'll take B. And so the person just sent that to me, like, oh, that's funny. Let me try to find it. So I went searching for it, and I found one with this black dude, and it wasn't that funny because the delivery wasn't as on point as that joke really deserved. So it was much funnier in writing than it was there. Then I went yesterday to try to show it to someone, and I searched it, and I found a different one of the exact same joke, but it was an old lady and an old man sitting there, and they were Australian or something. And it was, hey, you two been married for 62 years. Y'all are all in love and together. But, if you have to be quarantined together with your husband, and the woman said, B, is it okay if I take B? And it came across as serious. She did so good that I thought, okay, this was actually real. And it just happens to be funny.
Yeah.
The delivery can make all the difference in the world and stuff like that.
Timing, delivery, there really is a lot. And I'm not trying to say what we do is fucking rocket science, but there is a lot to comedy, as you know. In the structure, it's not just about writing the joke. It's performance, it's perfection, it's everything else. Who's your favorite comic though? You said you're such a fan of comedy. Is it Pryor? Because you mentioned him earlier.
Pryor is by far my favorite, but he's by far just because he's the gold standard, but Eddie Murphy is really close to that because he was very much like Pryor and just moved it a different generation forward.
Mm-hmm.
Arlen is just genius to me, and Robin Williams is not as raunchy or scandalous as those guys were, but just the energy and the genius behind what he delivered is just amazing to me. So everybody else is funny, sharp, interesting. Kill me. I mean, the late Robin Harris.
Oh,
I died laughing at everything he ever done, and I saw him live. He made jokes about me before in person, and I mean, just amazing. But it all started Pryor, and Murphy was just took it to another level in terms of just generationally. And Robin Williams just it's the manic attack on the audience that Robin Williams did at his best.
Crazy.
Just none. You're like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
Can't keep laughing at everything you do. You're doing too much because I'm still laughing at this thing, and you made 3 other half jokes along the way.
Yeah.
You throw me off. Where Carlin took his time and was like, I'm fixing to punch you in the face with this joke, and you're gonna laugh, and I'm gonna finish laughing, and then I'm gonna punch you again. Robert Williams just wearing you out. It was crazy.
He would throw 100 jabs, whereas some of the other guys would just have a big knockout punch. I find it interesting that you had the opportunity to say me, and you didn't. So
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Asshole. Oh,
No, I completely forget. That's what you do.
Fuck.
Sometimes
you know what my favorite writer is? Fran Blindberry.
Hey, I do have to go because people
John
are texting
McClane.
me. I'm supposed to be shooting some from a TV show, but
shit.
I will.
Okay. Yo, well, fuck. It's already 8:40. My bad.
I finally got a chance to see you perform live. I was amazed. Not amazed because you're funny. I already knew that. Wasn't amazed that you had that style or you could bring it. I was amazed that you could make me laugh, not because it was you. It was because what you're doing was just funny. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't laughing because, oh, that's my boy, I'm going to laugh.
Right.
Because there are people listening to us now who would laugh and they're like, well, I like Jerome and Joel. I mean, nobody likes Joel. I like Jerome and Barry. So,
fucked up.
See, that's why they're laughing right now, because we say stuff like that. But then, I like Jerome and Barry. I showed up to laugh, I'm going to laugh.
Right.
But when I saw you, I was impressed, and I was like, I think if I just walked in and I didn't even know this dude, I'd be cracking up because
I appreciate that.
It's funny. And see, a funny person erases all of your questions about who he is, because you don't care what they look like.
Mm-mm.
You don't care what their voice sounds like. You don't care if they're tall, skinny, fat. And trust me, I get into the person who is self-deprecating and talk about how big they are or whatever, but there's a limit to that because I'm laughing at that
Right.
as opposed to I like laughing at stuff that anybody could say it. See,
Yep.
Richard Pryor said stuff anybody could have said it. Nobody was willing to. Nobody was bold enough. Nobody could
Amen.
there. Eddie Murphy said stuff that people had already been saying, and Richard had already done it in a lot of ways. Eddie was so talented that he'd say regular stuff and you'd crack up. Stuff that other people could say the exact same words and you wouldn't even giggle because he was so good a performer. And you brought that. I was like, this dude can actually perform. This
Well,
dude has funny stuff. I like it because he ain't that funny. His show is cracking me up. I gotta give him some due for that.
I appreciate that. I was just fucking with you. I didn't make you. I didn't want to make you say a bunch of nice shit you didn't mean.
Top 3,000
Oh, I'm top 3,000.
easily.
See,
I'm talking like
listen.
2,600 and something.
And something. Hey, dude, I appreciate you doing this, man. I really do. I wanted to, a lot of times when comics do shit like this, they just get comics, and I was like, I want to talk to. First thing I want to do is talk to my friends, and so I'm glad that I got you on early because I consider you a friend, and in a lot of ways, not a mentor. I don't know, but you have helped me so much in this business, and so I do appreciate what you've done for me, man. Thank you.
No, thank you, man. I'm telling you, and for people who haven't checked you out, your stuff is really good. That stuff you do on Houston Sports Show is not regular. It's better than anything that's on national TV. It's Saturday Night Live worthy stuff, and people need to know that. We need to figure out a better way of getting it out there because your best of is ridiculous.
Well, I
It's
appreciate
that
that.
good.
And again, dude, thank you for the opportunity, man. It's I'm so blessed and honored to be able to have that opportunity to do it.
Money, I got opportunity.
Hey,
No more
man,
money, man.
Houston, Houston Sports Show every Sunday, 11 or 11:30. They've been moving us around a little bit, but every Sunday. And then,
KPRC channel too. Good stuff,
yep.
man.
And then at Jerome Solomon on Twitter. Anything else you want to plug?
No, man, just watch the show. Now, tell Remy to quit harassing me.
Is he fucking with you right now? Hey, look, Eric Resendez asked who's next.
I do have to go talk to my guy Emilian. He's out of the hospital now. And real quick, it this Corona thing, we didn't get into it.
No,
and
we
it's
didn't.
not the kind of meeting, but it's vital out there. It's out there. And now I know people who are in the hospital, in ICU.
Do you?
That's how tight this has gotten already. And so this guy who sells for the show, had been in the hospital for 9 days, got home yesterday. So he's doing better, and I'm about to go and record an interview with him for tomorrow night's show. So if you want to check out a person who has dealt with this and is fortunately on the other side of it, check out tomorrow night's show. We'll have that on.
Oh, that's great, dude. Hey, man, thank you so much. But real quick, before I let you go, because Eric Resendez asked who's next. Next, tomorrow night, I'm going to be talking with Kiki Maroon. I don't know if you know her, Jerome. She does burlesque in Houston. She just expanded to Dallas, but she's awesome. She does, yeah.
Yeah.
I figured you like burlesque. Some of the girls is kind of thick. That's not a black thing. You just like thick women.
So on the internet is even better because it's like, and you have it. Damn, girl.
Jerome, I appreciate you, buddy, man. Be safe. I'll see you, or I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
All right, later.
All right, appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.